not real. It is a traumatization, but it's something which happens every day somewhere in the United States. It happens because someone drinks too much, then gets into a car or truck, and goes out on the streets and highways. So let's set the scene for you. It's prom night. 6 high school students, Brittany Zentler and Amy McPherson of Sentinel High, Ben Reyes of Valley Christian, Alexandra Lane of Loyola, Carl Harris of Florence High, and one recent high school graduate, Tina Nelson, who just left the party to take Alex home. Alex needed to be home before curfew. She will not get home because she and the rest of these students chose to get into a vehicle with a driver who had been drinking. They got into an accident instead, all because Tina made a choice to drink and drive. These teenagers don't even know what happened. They know that their car spun out of control and rolled. Brittany was riding in the center front on the console. She was not wearing a seatbelt. The impact of the crash ejected her out of the car and through the windshield. She's lying out in front of the vehicle. Someone passing by saw the crash and called 911. Montana Highway Patrol and Missoula County Sheriff's deputies will be first on the scene.
Dispatch has been notified that this is a severe accident with severe injuries to 5 people. Officers have informed dispatch that the fire department will need to respond for extrication. Missoula City Fire is dispatched and will respond with full medical extrication crews.
City Fire 131, 121, 116, and Medic 1 respond to a car crash with injuries, multiple victims, possible fatalities at Ram Field. City Fire 131, 121, 116, and Medic 1 respond to Ram Field for a car crash with injuries, multiple victims, possible fatalities. KAN 744 clear.
Now that the fire department has arrived, firefighters will secure the car. They'll check for leaking gasoline. They'll make sure that the scene is safe, and they too will provide immediate patient care. The fire department assumes command of the scene. Medic 1 from Missoula Emergency Services has arrived, and now triage will begin. Triage means evaluation of the injuries that these students have suffered and treatment of the most seriously injured person first. The paramedic on Medic 1 recognizes that due to the number of victims in this accident, Medic 2 and St. Patrick's Life Flight will be needed. There are potentially critical patients, and additional life support crews will be needed.
Medic 2, respond to a car crash with injuries, multiple victims, possible fatalities at Ram Field. Medic 2, respond to Ram Field for a car crash with injuries, multiple victims, possible fatalities. KAN 744 clear. Life Flight, respond to a car crash with injuries, multiple victims, possible fatalities at Ram Field. Life Flight, respond to Ram Field for a car crash with injuries, multiple victims, possible fatalities. KN 744 clear.
Medic 1 and Medic 2 and Life Flight are all staffed to provide advanced life support. Emergency medical technicians, paramedics, and flight nurses that are especially trained to handle emergencies just like this one. A Missoula Emergency Services paramedic is attending to Brittany. Brittany has massive head injuries due to being ejected from the vehicle. She also suffered a wide and deep cut on her neck, severing life-sustaining arteries. Emergency personnel find that Brittany is not breathing. She has no pulse. The attending paramedic notifies the emergency department at the hospital of her condition. She is declared dead at the scene. A sheet will be put over Brittany's body, and paramedic will move on to the next patient. Behind the passenger front seat. She's stunned and in shock. Emmy tried to get out of the car on her own and was found lying just outside of the vehicle. Firefighters and ambulance personnel are attending to her. They find that she's critically injured. She will be flown to the St. Patrick Hospital by Life Flight helicopter due to the severity of her injuries and the number of victims on scene that need the paramedics' attention. Emmy is being prepared to be transported by immobilizing her on a backboard. She will be strapped to the backboard, making sure that she cannot move and injure herself further. Due to a severe head injury, Emmy becomes unconscious. Because of massive facial injuries, the paramedics are not able to maintain a clear airway. They'll have to give her a surgical airway through her neck, what is known as a cricothyrotomy. The paramedic uses a scalpel to make an incision in Emmy's neck. He will then push a tube through the incision, down the trachea, then attach an oxygen bag to the tube so that the paramedic can provide oxygen directly to her lungs. Intravenous fluids and medication are also started on Emmy. Now that Life Flight has arrived, the paramedic is giving a patient report to the flight nurse and the paramedic from Life Flight. Because the driver, Tina Nelson, was wearing a lap and shoulder belt, she only has minor injuries. She was dazed but was able to get out of the vehicle on her own. She is now seated in the back of the highway patrol car. Ben Race, Alex Lane, and Carl Harris are all trapped inside of the car. Paramedics and firefighters have climbed inside of the car with them, trying to help the injured teenagers stay calm and making sure that they do not move. They're also assessing their injuries and checking to find out whether they are breathing. Paramedics and fire personnel will now take over and put Emmy aboard the helicopter so she can quickly be taken to St. Patrick Hospital, where a trauma team is waiting to treat her. City firefighters are initiating a number of extrication techniques to remove the wreckage from around the patients. To gain access to the patients, specific tools must be used. The jaws of life are used to remove doors of the wrecked vehicle, and hydraulic cutters cut the beams so that the roof may be removed. Being trapped inside of a vehicle while all of this is going on is extremely frightening to the patients. Emergency personnel are explaining to the patients every step that is being taken to remove them from the car. Seatbelt. He's the least injured. He has cuts from the flying glass, and his ankle is twisted, and his knees are bruised and cut. These cuts, however, are superficial, and his condition is stable. He has been C-spined immobilized by the crews. He will be transported for evaluation and x-rays of his ankle. Alex was riding in the front passenger seat. She was wearing a seatbelt, but due to the force of the impact, she has a possible broken pelvis and a severe cut on her head. She's lost a lot of blood, and she's now in shock. However, if she had not been wearing a seatbelt, she possibly would have been the second fatality in this accident. Now that the roof has been removed from the vehicle, firefighters and paramedics will be able to get to Alex and get Alex out of the car. The paramedic that was in the car was able to apply oxygen and control the bleeding. Alex will be C-spined immobilized with intravenous fluid started on her. Once she is removed from the car, she will be quickly loaded into the ambulance and be taken to St. Patrick Hospital, where the trauma team is waiting. Ben is also being extricated from the back seat. The force of the accident has caused possible fractures of the ribs, possible abdominal injuries, and an obvious severely broken leg. Ben will also be C-spine immobilized. His leg will be splinted. Oxygen and intravenous fluids will be started on Ben. He must also be transported immediately because of possible internal bleeding in his abdomen. Now that Ben has been extricated, he will also be transported to the ambulance. Deputy Coroner Mike McMeekin has also been called to the scene. When Mike arrives, he will take the sheet off of Brittany's body and pronounce her dead at the scene. You'll notice that officers have been taking measurements and photos of the entire accident scene. These pictures might be needed to provide information in court later.
Tonight I went to a party, Mom. I remembered what you said. You told me not to drink, so I drank soda instead. I felt really proud inside, just the way you said I would. I didn't drink and drive, Mom, even though the others said I should. I know I did the right thing, and I know you're always right. Now the party's finally ending, as everyone drives out of sight. As I got into my car, Mom, I knew I'd get home in one piece, because of the way you raised me, so responsible and sweet. I started to drive away, Mom, but as I pulled onto the road, the other car didn't see me, and it hit me like a load. As I lie here on the pavement, I hear the policeman say, The other guy is drunk, and now I'm the one who'll pay. I'm lying here dying, Mom. I wish you'd get here soon. How come this happened to me? My life is bursting like a balloon. There's blood all around me, Mom. Most of it is mine. I hear the paramedics say I'll die in a very short time. I just wanted to tell you, I swear, I didn't drink. It was the others. The others just didn't think. He didn't know where he was going, Mom. He was probably at the same party as I. The only difference is, he drank, and I will die. Why do people drink? It can ruin your whole life. I'm feeling sharp pains now. Pains just like a knife. The guy who hit me is walking, Mom. I don't think this is fair. I'm lying here dying while he can do is stare. Tell my brother not to cry, and tell Daddy to be brave. And when I go to heaven, write Daddy's girl on my grave. Someone should have told him, Mom, not to drink and drive. If only they would have taken the time, I would still be alive. My breath is getting shorter, and I'm becoming very scared. Please don't cry for me, Mom, because when I needed you, you were always there. I have one last question before I say goodbye. I did never drink, so why am I to die? This is the end, Mom. I wish I could look you in the eye to say these final words. I love you, and goodbye.
Brittany was just 15 years old and was planning on attending college and majoring in science. She was looking forward to medical school and becoming a physician. Brittany will no longer be a part of the activities that she loved, such as soccer and other outdoor activities. For Brittany's friends in the audience, they will feel a deep loss and will only have fond memories of times past. No one will ever know what good she might have done or what a difference she might have made in people's lives. We know that for her parents, Kayleen and Doug, life will never be the same. They grieve over the loss of their daughter. They are bitter, they're angry, and they're resentful toward the drunk driver who killed her. Tina had minor cuts and bruises. She was arrested and handcuffed on the scene and taken by patrol car to the hospital. Tina's blood was drawn by nurses. She was found to have a blood alcohol content of 0.2. That's 2 times the legal limit. Tina was arrested and charged with 1 count of negligent homicide for the death of Brittany and 4 counts of negligent vehicular assault for the severe injuries to the others that were riding with her. Tina could face up to 30 years in prison and be fined up to $85,000. Tina made choices to drink, to drive, and to allow friends to ride without wearing seatbelts. One night changed her life forever. Though she walked away from this accident with no permanent physical injuries, as she tries to go on with her life, she can never keep that night's horrible accident from her mind. She will always carry the guilt of causing the death of her friend Brittany. The fact that Emmy tried to move before medical help arrived complicated her injuries. The impact of the crash broke her neck. By moving, she became paralyzed. She'll never regain the use or feeling of her legs. Emmy will spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. She had planned on attending the University of Washington and majoring in sports medicine. Before the accident, she enjoyed soccer, skiing, mountain biking, and spending time outdoors. Emmy's future was open to anything she wanted. Now her options will be limited. Ben spent several days in the hospital. He suffered a collapsed lung. He also had surgery to repair his leg and knee. He will recover, but due to the severity of the injury to his knee, there will be limitations. A constant reminder of this night He enjoyed biking, running, swimming, and lifeguarding. Ben went on to attend Stanford University, majoring in medicine. He eventually became an orthopedic surgeon. Alex's injuries were severe. She spent several weeks in the hospital. She went through a number of surgeries to repair her abdominal bleeding and to reconstruct her hips. But she will eventually recover fully after a long rehabilitation. She planned on attending Stanford University and majoring in law. She did continue on to become an attorney. Her hobbies are sculpting and volleyball. What you've seen here this afternoon is not real, this time. But tragedies like this one we've portrayed do happen far too often. They've led to organizations like Mothers Against Drunk Drivers and Students Against Driving Drunk. You've seen a demonstration of some of the best trauma care available, but the best trauma care is prevention.
Well, I was involved in a wreck identical to this one. And during the mock accident, it is fake. I heard people laughing, people talking. It is sad, people. It does happen. I mean, look at me. I'm 21 years old, and I had no choice. I mean, my wreck was caused from poor judgment. No alcohol. It was just poor judgment. It does not take alcohol to have a car wreck. It can be poor judgment. You can be driving going 10 miles per hour and have a car go 30 miles per hour and hit you. You're messing with 3 ton. It's not funny. Many of you already know me. Some of you have never heard of me until today. You might have read about me in the newspapers in March 1994, but that was a while ago. I am here to talk to you about my accident and tell you some very, very difficult things I had to learn. On March 13, 1994, a beautiful afternoon, me and 5 of my friends went out for a joyride. We were happy to be promoted into high school, and too happy that we had a car, and none of our parents know where we were or what we were doing. We were headed home on Bell Crossing, and an unexperienced 15-year-old was driving, and he started drifting to the left side of the road. A truck was coming. He overcorrected. The car flipped 4 times. My little friend Brandon Daniels was riding in the hatchback of the car, and he flew out, landing on his head on a fence post. He died later that evening in the St. Pat's Hospital. I too was thrown from the car. Witnesses say both Brandon and I flew as high as a telephone pole, but I don't remember much after the swerving of the car. When I landed, the car rolled over the top of me, breaking 6 ribs, one of them going through my lung, my jaw, my shoulder, my wrist, my nose, my back, and worst of all, severing my spinal cord. Most of you already know that a severed spinal cord means loss of feeling from the sever down. Not knowing much about anything, not knowing the fate of my parents or my life and friends. I remember my mom in tears and the look on her face. My dad too was there. He could feel my pain through his love. Not many words were spoken at the time. My dad could not look at me without crying. So he just held me, like he had held me when I was a helpless newborn baby. For days I went through denial. All I could think about is, this isn't me, it's a dream. I'll be able to walk again. I'll wake up, play basketball, go boxing, win a championship. But no matter how hard I tried, I just could not move my legs. On 2 occasions, I almost died that week. But to make the situations worse, both of my lungs collapsed, and I developed pneumonia in my lungs. I went into surgery twice by my 2nd week at St. Pat's, and I could not talk a great deal because they had put a tube down my throat to help me breathe. But every day I had told my parents I love them, and everyone who was helping me, thank you. Weeks passed, then a month, and I was finally released from St. Pat's Hospital to Community Hospital. I went through rehab there for a month. I had to learn how to maneuver around a house, go down steps, and take care of myself. There are certain aspects of this situation I cannot discuss with you guys because they are way so personal. The message that I am trying to give to you listening to my story is don't think this cannot happen to you. We are human beings who can be seriously injured or killed for one bad judgment, can even be seriously injured or killed for someone else's bad judgment. So please, ever so carefully, think about the decisions next time you make, and think about your consequences. They become your consequences. Thank you.
Today's program has been dedicated to the 67 young men and women between the ages of 15 and 24 who died in car crashes in Montana in 1999. A white cross representing each of those people is out in the field. The best advice that we can give you is older than your parents. If you're going to drink, don't drive. Don't ride with a driver who's been drinking, and always wear your seatbelt. Teamwork saves lives, so please join the team. Remember, it is your choice. Thank you for coming.